When I was young, I heard about this mythical thing called a snow day, where you stayed home because of the snow. What? On the West Coast, there was no snow, right? Every now and again, you'd run into, what we'd consider an elder, and they would go, "Oh, it snowed one time." And you go, "When?" And they go, "One time." They're not keen on the details. But you always think, well, maybe that one time can become two times and I can get the hell out of this place just for a day. Because otherwise your only other method is getting sick. And while you're sick, there are no benefits, right? Everything is painful as it should be. You feel horrible. Yeah, and you ever get tested if you're sick? That's the worst because sometimes they call you right on and you go you're oh, I'm sick. Get up. You're going. Especially now. I can't pull that off at all. Sometimes I'll be like, "Babe, I don't feel good." I'll do the dishes. And then if you're still feeling not great, then you can lay down. And you're like, "But I don't feel." Yeah, but the dishes need to get done. So either do the dishes or, come on, get with the program here. And so you're thinking, wow. And so you get tested. Oh my goodness. Because when you're actually sick, when you got like a serious like migraine or you're just like feeling ugh, and like they try and open the shades on you and let that dreaded sunlight in, you become like a vampire. You're like, oh no, what the no, ow, oh, it burns everywhere. You're like, no, get that. Why? And then for some reason, right? People, two things. Let's discuss one. One, if you're a parent, they try the whole like hand back of the hand on the forehead technique, and that is supposed to somehow gauge all of your symptoms. They'll just come over and put their hand, they basically slap you on the forehead. That's what I think. It's just an excuse. We're like, oh no, I don't have time to deal with this. All right, well, if I have to deal with this, whoosh, you're feeling fine. Not really, you just smacked me in the head. Well, I don't feel a fever. Well, give it a minute, let the brain stop rattling. And then the other thing they do is then they sit on the bed, which totally destroys your whole balance, which throws you for a whoop-de-woo. It feels like somebody just put you on one of those gravitron machines. You ever been to one of those like fairs where they have those crazy rides that if they look like death traps? Like one's like a metal cage. It was called the Zipper. It was literally a metal cage, and you spun 360 while it spun everybody 360. So it was a double 360, loop de loop. And I was like, that can't be. I'm not getting on that. I remember one year we went there, and it was the only ride my dad seemed keen to let me go on. He goes, "Oh, do you wanna have fun? You can go on that." I go, "That doesn't look like fun." "Oh, it'll be fun for me." But how's that fun for me? So, you really got to be careful when you're faking it. And if you're not faking it, the only other option is, well, you hope somebody coughs on you, right? I remember one time, I think I was super young. I got the worst. I mean, I think it was. I'm No, I'm pretty sure it was strep throat. Now that I like said that on like with not confidence, who knows if it's true? But I got strep throat. And I think what happened is my siblings were like, "Oh, he's like super ill. Like he's gonna be out of school for a while. Let's get some of that. Like let's hop on that train because he also tried faking it and that didn't go well for him. They learned by my mistakes. And so we all got strep throat, all three of us. Oh, it was horrible. Every breath, painful, the light, vampire style. I mean, it was no good. I remember and that's the problem because when you're sick, it seems that all the benefits come after, you wake up from your haze of pain and misery. Because you realize during that time, you got to watch TV all day long. Like, you got to figure out what's on at 8 o'clock in the morning or like during the times when you're like out and about doing things you're supposed to be doing. Like Walker, Texas Ranger. Oh my goodness, if you haven't gotten Chuck Norris in your life, He got bit by a snake one time, and then the snake died. Yeah, if that doesn't ring your bell on who Chuck Norris is, he used to be a ranger in Texas. We watched that show for days on it. That was like the most favorite thing to look forward to. When you're that ill, I'm telling you, Walker Texas Ranger, that'll help ail some ailments right there. Roundhouse kick to the face every time, perfectly. Way to go, Chuck. And so we were all down for the count. But you got to watch TV all day. We had pizza, although trying to eat pizza with strep throat was like murder. I think that was just because, when you're sick, especially when you're young, sometimes you have the perfect kind of like way to kind of ring a bell to get service on anything you want. And it's kind of a low, subtle moan, like, and if nobody responds, as they often try to ignore you because it's annoying, right? And you can only be given so many things before it's like, look, you're just miserable. Just get over it, okay? Like, this is going to be the way it is. Stop your whine. So you got to get louder with it because the louder you get, sooner or later, someone's got to answer because you got to stop that noise. So, years later, though, I thought those were the bags of the trade. Tricks of the trade? One of the two. Until I met this guy who, you ever see a person where they're sick? Right? Yeah, like you ever try to go to work, you ever try to brave it because you don't really understand anymore how to fake it? You spend too long just going back and forth, and then you try to go in one day and you just look off on somebody. People just start walking away from you, right? It's no longer like, hey, what's going on? There's I gotta get out. I gotta get out of here and pour Clorox in my eyes. Like you're like, oh, so I don't. Oh, okay, so I look as bad as I feel. Good. I got that confirmation. I think I'm gonna go home or just pass out on the floor right here. How did I even get here? It's one of those, But this guy, this guy, right? He looked horrible. And I'm telling you, like, I could see him from a mile away, and I can't see very good. And I went, whoa. And this was a time where you can't, like, back away, so you have to, like, act and not act, but you have to feign concern. You're like, hey, what? You shouldn't be outside. And not only that, he was sweating out of his face, like out of every pore, every cell in his body. And that's also because I realized he was wearing all of his clothes. Like every piece of clothing he had, it was like the middle of summer. It was like 80, it was like hot outside in the middle of summer, and he's wearing all of his clothes. And I'm going, what are you doing? You look horrible, and I can only imagine you feel probably worse. And with how red your face is, right, from just dying in all those clothes, he's like, yeah. No, hear me out. I don't feel good. Clearly. I don't feel good at all. No need to tell me, but go on. I'm going for a 3-mile run. Excuse me? He goes, here, is an old trick of the trade. This guy apparently learned to get rid of sickness was to just burn it from his body through exercise and just like death. So he was like, I got it. I don't feel good. I'm gonna wear all of my clothes and go for a 3-mile run. I go, you're not gonna come back from that 3-mile run. Like there's no way that this heals you in any sort of way. And in fact, I was like, I'm glad you're telling me because I'm gonna come looking for you because who does this? Look, you don't need to fake it, right? It's written all over your face. Just go lay down, right? Like, just pass out right here. No one's going to blame you. I did it plenty of times. This guy takes off on a run, right? He comes back. Healed. I mean, I'm telling you, he looked better than me. Which isn't saying much on a regular basis, but I'm telling you, I looked him square in the face, and he had color and everything. I went, oh my god, where did you run to? Like you gotta wonder over here. So we got to be careful with this whole, and I really started looking at what kind of remedies could I use. Turns out all I needed was some water. Yeah, Some of that good old H2O would have just done me dandy. I used to get dehydrated like there wasn't no tomorrow. I fancy myself a nice cold glass of water. You don't really find cold glasses of water out in the wilderness where I used to go and travel sometimes. I used to go camping and hiking and that sort of thing. And so you get out there and you get dehydrated and you start walking all deliriously. And they always knew because I was in the back or asleep on the side where like it was be the most uncomfortable place to sleep. Right? Like I'd be sleeping on top of a boulder, like it's shaped like a U, right? Like, and you're like, how is that comfortable at all? Like, oh, that's right. And then they look at my face because you kind of have to do a. You're kind of like, what the? Oh, he looks terrible. Oh, they had to start like you never. This is gonna bring. I don't even know if they sell this stuff anymore. This is also something that like good times. Tang, right? It's like a powder. You pour it in water. I don't know if it's any good for you. I think it's just straight sugar. But that was the only thing the guy was like, oh, hey, electrolytes. You know, try to add in some nutrition in there. That's how they get you. That's probably how they got me. And they're like, hey, it's probably healthy. And not at all. But it got me to drink water. So, success on their part a little bit. I got Tang like years later. I found it on the shelf once. You know, when you like, it's something from your childhood and you're like, oh, they probably don't sell this anymore. And then you find like one at a random store and buy it. And then it sat on my shelf. I never used it. I was like, I can't believe that I have it. And I don't know if I can have it anymore. Because looking at it, it looked like an explosive powder. Like no wonder I was probably addicted to it. Like I wanted it so bad. Every time I went on high, I was like, I'm getting Tang. I probably didn't drink water because I knew I was getting the Tang. Because it's all about the Tang. So, uh, just a little bit of water goes a long way. I'm also I was big on medicine, right? Like because that we have it available. You gotta take some of that stuff because that's what gets you going. And then until I found this nurse, there was one time I was in the hospital with this nurse, and this nurse was like trying to administer me medication, and then she goes, "Yeah, I don't believe in Western medicine," and I go, "Tell me more." She goes, "Yeah, yeah, I was in a giant car accident where I broke my back, and I mean broke it," and I go, "Uh huh." You probably should have taken something for that. Just right off the bat, like maybe something would have helped. I mean, the way she said broke it, she said, I took, She knew what I was thinking. She said, I took no, I took no medication. I just healed. And I was like, okay. And then she just jams all the medicine into my bloodstream. And she goes, well, I guess some people need it. And I remember just grabbing onto my girlfriend and went, oh my goodness. Because along with this medication, you also could get nausea medication. And I grabbed onto her and I was like, oh, I think I need to get the other. Oh no. Because that was real quick to my girlfriend. She's one of those people though that does not take medicine. You ever meet those people who are like, no, I don't want to take too much Advil. I'd rather just like suffer through the pain. And I go, why would you do that? There was one time she was so sick. It was when she was younger, and she was like so sick. Like imagine someone who doesn't take medicine and just like suffers through it. Like this person will go to work with two broken legs and a headache. Like I'm telling you right now, like she won't give up. I even tell her, give up, because you're making me look bad, right? Like I've even got to step up my game just a little bit, because I'm like, well, if she can make it through that, I can at least go with a toothache or something. Those things hurt. Um, so, but so she was so sick that she had went and told her like parents like, hey, like she went, well, one parent, she went and told one parent like, hey, I'm not feeling that great. I think I need to go to urgent care. And that's like tip of the line. Like I am not well at all. Right. Um, so, like there was one time like I had kidney stones and I was writhing in pain. Oh my goodness, I thought I was gonna keel over and that was that. And I finally like went and was like, oh, I think you gotta take me to urgent care. We went to urgent care and they're like, you gotta go to the ER. Like, what do you think this is? Like this, we're not set up for this. But hers was a little less than that. So her parent was like, no, no, just go lay down, take some medicine, and if you don't feel good in the morning, we'll take you then. And then she wakes up and she's doing the whole moaning technique. Help, help. And nobody's coming. So she literally has to crawl on the floor for her survival to try and be like, anybody there? Nobody was there. The parent had decided, oh, I can use this and I'm just going to not go to work and I'm going to go shopping all day. She's probably fine, right? And so she was left now on the floor, not away from her comfort and with no support. And, I was trying to tell her that story, right, to just try and, work it out. And the whole time she was like, wrong, that's wrong, that didn't happen. And I'm like, I'm trying to just throw a little, a little embellishment in there to make it pop a little bit. And she's like, wrong, that's wrong. She had already left. I didn't crawl on the floor. I heard the garage open and saw her drive away. And I'm like, what? I mean, but the whole crawling makes you look. And so, they're always there to tell you what's right and what you did wrong, and which is probably why I need to probably go do those. I didn't do those dishes. Well, with that, guys, I gotta get to it. So, we're sick of this. So, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye bye.